Chris Evans.
Welcome to our podcast. So, this is Georgia Living. We are on
This is episode 16.
Spotify as well, and then
Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast.
so thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a review and share the show with folks. We're going to get into some great stuff today on this episode. We'll be talking about some tax events that are happening through the county, some family events that have happened with us, and we're going to dive into some real estate a little bit later in the show and talk about things you need to know as a seller. We're also going to talk about the market performance for 2024 and how January fared starting 25. So we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
But before we dive in, Céline, what's going on around the house? We've had a lot. It always seems.
It's the beginning of fake spring, right?
This is fake spring
the
one.
The very first fake spring that we've had. Mm-hmm. We go through maybe a few cycles in Georgia, but it's that first little blip that you get of spring, the 70s temperature, the 50s temperature, where it's a little chilly in the morning, and then at the afternoon, it's just gorgeous.
I feel like Georgia goes through a game every year where it's constantly taunting or teasing us.
Yeah.
And for me, at least, I like to count how many fake springs we get, because this time of year, it always starts to warm up, and we get this hope that everything's going to be nice.
It's usually about 2 or 3. Don't you think?
Usually, yeah.
2 or 3 cycles of this nice weather, and then it's really cold again, and then you have to get your jacket out. This is the time where you think that you can put it away, but you can't.
Our plants hate this.
They do.
Because it's like this is the time of year where if it stays too warm too long, you'll start getting trees blooming, and then the freeze will come and knock it all out.
That's why there's certain plants that we don't plant here.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fake spring one. We're in the 70s today. It's incredibly gorgeous outside. Enjoy it because it's not going to last. We'll probably have at least one more freeze event, and after Easter, we'll probably start being steady in our temperatures.
So shifting gears here, I have a PSA. So I love how you put in the show notes that it's funny but painful. Apparently, you can get an allergy to HEMA, HEMA, that is in gel polish. And y'all, this is the itchiest my fingers have ever been. They are ruined so badly. Apparently, you can develop an allergy to gel nails, even if you've been doing it for years, and then all of a sudden your body decides to react, and don't do it. I'm pretty sure my fingertips are going to start peeling pretty soon. And yeah, y'all, be careful. Be really careful. That's what I have been funnily dealing with. I can't feel anything. My fingertips are so hard now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It feels like there's calluses on them right now.
Yeah. So y'all, be very careful of gel. And I know it seems so trivial, but it hurts a lot. It was so itchy, and I think I tore my fingers up. So I'm not doing that again. So
non-gel nails for the future. Hooray. We can all get behind that. Happy wives.
Seems so trivial, but it really hurts. Okay.
So we're over all the sickness. I think it's still going around. We've got our kids say a bunch of kids are sick out in their class. So, stay healthy. Right now, the viruses are still going around. They're not fun, but everything is kind of getting back to normal. I think we're through January. We're already into month 2 of 2025. It feels insane.
It's very close to Valentine's Day too.
Yep.
So the kids are excited about their little candies that they give out at school, and
dry January's over. That was fun. Did that, felt good, got a little reset, and we've got some events that are going on around Cobb County this month, because now that we're through January, everybody has their tax documents. So the AARP Foundation.
That's the Southern version. It's the AARP.
AARP. Yeah, well, doesn't work with my Boston accent. That's just me not knowing AARP yet. So the foundation, the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program is going on this year. And this is free tax preparation for low to moderate income households at various Cobb County locations. This is taking place from February through April. Appointments are required at participating libraries and recreation centers. The locations and times include the South Cobb Library on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the East Cobb Library Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Gritter's Library Monday 10 to 3 p.m., Switzer Library Thursdays 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Mountain View Regional Library Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information on this or to schedule an appointment, visit the AARP tax aid locations, and we will post a link to that in the show notes. And don't forget to bring your 23 return Social Security card and other necessary documents when you go.
Which one's your favorite library? Because we've been to almost all of these.
I like Mountain View, and I like Switzer.
I think it's Schweitzer.
Schweitzer,
that is the Cobb County main library. It is by the square. And the Georgia Room, did you know that my DAR chapter founder gave a whole bunch of donations and money to support that? The old big chicken menus, even some ephemera there.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's some rare books as well. I don't think that you've gone, but I have.
I haven't been in that room now.
It's in the back of the library. So, it's public access. And they're actually an affiliate with FamilySearch.com. So if you are doing research on documents, you can go to Schweitzer and the Georgia Room and sit down and access those microfilms that have been scanned.
No kidding.
I really like East Cobb Library too. It's a small, quaint one that's in the corner of that little shopping center near Johnson Ferry and Lower Roswell, that area, right?
Yep.
So that's really nice. And I really haven't. But I think mainly I went to Mountain View too.
Yeah, Mountain View is right around the corner from us. I feel like we're there all the time. Mm-hmm. Also, I've been to the East Cobb Library. Great location.
Yeah.
So, if you know anybody or you yourself find yourself in the low to moderate income household category, you have access to free tax prep throughout the county. So that's great. Good to get that over and done with. Don't be sitting on those till the last minute. And when you get your tax return, if you're interested in using it towards a real estate purchase, you can give us a call. We're always here for that.
Normally, if we're talking about that, we need to talk about how much it costs, what we're looking at, right? Obviously, it depends on the type of property that you're buying. But if you are going a financed route, mm-hmm. and you are maybe a first-time home buyer, you have no idea what you're getting into, how much ballpark, based on the average sales price of $400,000 in Atlanta, that's, our statistics, right? Mm-hmm. It went down a little bit. How much will you need to have? Will that tax return do it?
So my recommendation is to always have 7 to 8% of your down payment saved up before you buy a house. You don't have to have the 20% that, our parents did back when they were buying their first house. Because
nobody talks about that anymore.
No, but
20%.
It's still passed down in a lot of families where it's like, oh, you need 20%, you'll never get 20%. And people don't know that you don't need 20%. An FHA loan, you can get into the house at 3.5% for your down payment. Conventional 5%. And in this world with higher interest rates, if you've got more than that, fantastic. But if you don't, that's kind of your minimum. And then you're going to want to make sure that you're not depleting everything you have for the sale. So FHA, you're looking at 3.5% for your down payment. If you can't get the closing cost covered by the seller, you got another 3% there. That puts you to 6.5%. And then you should be able to hopefully get your buyer's agent's commission included in that negotiation as well. And then you have 1.5% left over in savings that you can use for your move and, any incidentals that will come up through the course of the moving. Because when you buy a house, you're going to move in and find that something's wrong. It always works that way because
even new construction.
Yeah. Home inspectors don't get everything. They never do. They're just there to give you an idea.
They're very good though.
Of what you're
They
purchasing.
really are.
Yeah. They're there to remove a lot of the risk. But their testing is not going to be as intensive as, somebody going in and living in a house. If one inspector goes and turns on all the faucets in the house for 10 minutes, that's fine. But if you're doing that constantly for 30 minutes, twice a day, every day, that's a different level of intensity. So you'll find things that are broken and you want to have savings in. So at a $400,000 house, I'd recommend having about $32,000 in savings before you're ready to make that plunge.
For all those things that you listed. And that's really all the miscellaneous things that you don't think of as well.
Yeah, and at that number, it's not to say you can't do it for less. It's just that's the number where I think that the house is going to be the blessing, not the burden. Now, there are ways to get to that number when you don't have it, because there are down payment assistance programs for first-time home buyers, low to moderate income. There are programs for doctors and first responders to get additional funds. So if you are thinking about buying a house this year, give us a call. We can start helping you through the process of planning so that you know what you need to get to and how much to save up for and what you qualify for aid and assistance that could speed up that timeline.
Speaking of blessings, you had a daddy-daughter dance.
It's that season, yeah.
You only been to one of them before. That was when Scarlett was very, very, maybe she was 3, 4?
Yeah, this was our second.
Yeah. This was your second time. And this time, I made a paper corsage for Scarlett just on a whim because her wrist was so tiny at that age and you can't buy a corsage, right? So you have to make it. That corsage hung in that room in her room it's still hanging there. So I think her little sister got a little jealous of her corsage because she didn't go to a dance. And I think this year when they actually figured out that our church had this, and she immediately said that she wanted to go. She says, "Take me. I want to go dancing with you." Scarlett says she wanted to go again. And I think it's sweet that they still want to go.
Oh, it was amazing. We had such a great time. I took both of my girls. They got done up in their dresses, sparkly shoes. We got there and it was all about the snacks and eating and having the chocolate fountain and the strawberry lemonades. They loved it. Lots of dancing. And, after that first one that we went to, they actually stopped doing it because of COVID for a few years.
That's why we did.
And then they brought it back. But the last 2 years, the date, we've had conflicts.
Yes.
And we learned about it far enough in advance this year that we got it on the calendar and made it a priority.
Yes.
The girls absolutely loved it. I love spending that one-on-one time with the kids.
Didn't you say that the line for the chocolate fountain wrapped around the entire room?
Oh, wrapped around the entire room, yeah. It was all the kids wanted it. It was just a great event. Lots of fellowship because this was hosted by our church. And the Knights of Columbus over at our church did a fantastic job. Kudos to my brother Knights there. But yeah, I love these moments. We got lots of pictures. I can't wait for the professional photos to come out, and I'll share those.
And brand new corsages.
And yes, because
brand new.
I was out showing homes all day, so I was unable to. I didn't have time to stop and pick anything up. So you made 2 new paper corsages. They're super cute, and the girls wore them and had their photos taken with them, and they were enamored. They loved it,
and they get to keep it too. So now it's adorning their bedposts. I think that's where they put them. But,
exactly. And we've been working with our feels like teenager, but he's still only 11. On getting that room clean and keeping it clean.
He just wrapped up his first season of Cotillion.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
And now that we're starting to see some progress being held there, we've gone back to working on the cart. So we've got our engine mounts painted and installed for the go-kart. And pretty soon we're ready to finish mounting it and then start on the electrical and getting the carburetor installed and tested up. So
fun. That's like soapbox derby almost, but actually going fast.
Yeah, we're doing the engine
Sitting on
upgrade. So we bought a card off of Facebook Marketplace for a few $100s. He drove it around a little bit. The engine on it was old and used up, so it wasn't shifting right, and it was sputtering a lot. So we just did the upgrade, going from, I think, like a 110 to a 125 or a 135.
So fun, though,
Yeah.
doing it with your dad, right?
It's a lot of fun. They're not hard to work on either. I mean, they're cheap little Chinese engines is what they're called. And you can buy the replacements for them. It was just about finding the right one and then getting everything configured for it. But I got a racing carburetor for it that I'm excited to install.
Now, did we talk about cotillion last week? Because
I don't think we did.
I
No,
don't
we
think
weren't
so
here last week
either.
because we had something that popped up. I think with all the sickness, we didn't record. No, we recorded last week, but the audio sucked. So sorry about that, y'all.
That's what it was.
That was
The
last
audio
week's
is
thing.
awful.
And we did that around a bunch of training that we had, and we were slammed. So I don't think we talked about that.
No, so cotillion, he went to Dogwood Cotillion, which serves our East Cobb area, private schools and public schools.
They advertise it.
No, but it's been around. A lot of the adults had actually gone to the same cotillion as their children have. And it's a 4-week program, once a week. And for an hour, they are instructed on how to place certain things, to have manners, basics that aren't taught in, well, I guess they are taught in schools. But
No, they're not taught in schools. There's
Depends
not a
on what
single
school.
public school that teaches kids where your bread, water, and plate go and how your silverware is supposed to be, how you sit at a table. Nobody teaches that.
Okay, true.
Parents teach that if they know.
But here's the thing is that they don't listen to parents as much
Oh,
as
God,
other
no.
people.
Yeah.
So you might be saying, oh, I could teach him that. You know, I can do that. Yes, we have. We really have. Do you like that shine
Get
in your face?
out of this light. There we go.
Pretty soon it's
I gotta-
going to come and occlude my
I know.
face as well.
Shift that a little.
My audio's out now.
I just lost my audio.
Uh-oh. What did you do?
There we go.
There it is.
There's
We're
mine.
back.
Test. You're good. Okay. I got a loose connection behind the laptop.
Not scripted.
Definitely not. This is live, y'all.
Yeah. I thought it was really worth it. He's going to continue on for maybe 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah.
And then our other children, our daughters, will be there. And they were so cute. You know, they all knew that they were going to be there to learn basic things. And they didn't go, ew, girls. You know, even though they're that age, they didn't say any of that. It was so nice.
There was probably at least 100 kids in there.
Had to be.
And the classes change. So it's like they've got different schools on different days. So for like 3 different schools, they all go like Wednesday at a certain time. So 100 kids, half boy, half girl. They're all sitting there. They're learning dances. They're doing the cha-cha, the salsa, the box step. They're doing the swing and just kind of learning some of the basic steps. It's really cute to watch this kind of happen. They look like tiny adults.
Thank you for getting that cute little photo of me dancing with our son.
Yeah.
So,
Until
I love that.
Until he got embarrassed and stopped dancing in the middle of the dance floor. We're dancing with mom.
That's true. They created a mosh pit of their own.
They
so,
did.
yeah, we're not cool anymore.
I stopped being cool a long time ago. So lots of stuff there. We've got, if your kid's not in cotillion, we highly recommend it because our kids don't listen to us and they are now behaving themselves at the dinner table a lot better because they listen to other adults. Real estate. Real estate is starting to get in full swing for the 2025 year.
We've had some reports come out that you were telling me about. The 2024 Georgia real estate market performance recap.
Yes. So we'll dive into that in just a minute because I got to get that pulled up. we just had a listing appointment yesterday, and one of the things I think we wanted to share a few of the concerns that we dealt with somebody who's thinking about selling this year, and kind of how that went and what you need to keep in mind when you're trying to determine what the value of your house is. Because a lot of people just kind of go and look at the little automated number on one of the websites that says your house is worth this, or
Those can give you a good idea, but it doesn't actually dive into the specifics of your property. So it's a general thing. I think Georgia MLS has tools for consumers on their public-facing side.
They possibly do.
Possibly.
Here's what you want to think about. So our potential seller, they had a number in mind that they thought that their home was worth. Their home was about 15 years old, 18 years old. And when we ran the numbers, we had found that there were a lot of homes in the area that were selling recently, but there weren't any homes that have sold in the actual neighborhood in over a year. The last home that sold in that neighborhood was in 2021. So if you live in a neighborhood where you haven't had a lot of home sales recently, that's not necessarily a good thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But it does mean that the last home that sold in your neighborhood is not a price that you can count on, because an appraiser is going to need to look at what's happening in the area around your home. So they're going to try and find similar type properties within a 1 mile or less radius, closer to. Yeah. So what had ended up happening around this house is that the surrounding neighborhoods were selling 3-bedroom, 2-bath units in the low threes, and newer construction homes that were less than 5 years old were coming in with higher square footage, around the 375 to 400 mark. Now this home, square footage based, would, if you compare it to the 3-bedroom, 2-baths, should be closer to the 390,000 mark. But one thing, and that's kind of where the seller was thinking the property would be. However, because we have to look at the whole picture, and we have to think like a buyer. If the buyer can go out and have two choices to choose from for any given price point, what are they going to choose? Are they going to choose an 18-year-old house that has some older systems in it, well-maintained, but some older systems and older decor? Or are they going to choose a 5-year-old house where everything in that home is 5 years or younger? And all prices being equal, they're going to choose the newer home because you have newer systems, newer roof, newer siding, more advanced construction techniques, more recent wiring. Yeah, all other things being equal, right? Quality of construction has to be equal or better. So when we're factoring that in, we have $325 for a 3.2, and then we have kind of $400 for our kind of $390 to $400 for our newer constructions. That puts our property right around that $360,000 to $375,000 mark. And when you're pricing homes, you want to factor in what's out there. So if you're paying attention to the value of your home, you're thinking about selling it this year, and you're just browsing around the internet at night trying to get some data points, make sure that you're looking at the properties that are selling around you. And then you also have to look at what's staying on the market. Is your home worth $400,000 when your neighbor with the identical floor plan has had their property marketed on the MLS for 6 months for $400,000 and no one has bought it? Probably not. Most likely you're going to have some price adjustments that need to be there, and your perceived value is that it's $400,000, but your actual value is somewhere lower than that. So just food for thought as we're going through this year and getting started here. I'm going to pull up.
That can be a really hard pill to swallow for people who are retirement age, or they depend on that money, and I understand, I really do. But you can't get away from data that's there as well. So, don't be alarmed if it's less than what you thought, but also take into account why it's less than what you thought, because everyone's going to be basing their price and their offerings on those as well.
They sure will. All right. I am looking for these GAR numbers.
They just came out with it today, right?
They did. But I'm on a different computer, and I need to send it to myself.
Was it in an email?
It was in an email.
Ooh.
Here it is. 746.
They delivered it to you.
I just sent it to this computer. Okay. So here is our 2024 annual report for GAR. So if you're wondering what's happening in Georgia, so this is statewide. Jesus, this light keeps moving, and I gotta keep moving with it.
It's attacking you.
I know. As the sun it's not staying stationary. What's wrong with planet Earth?
You know what it is, right? It's so there are many blinds in front of us, and that tiny little crack.
Yeah.
Where the thread goes through, so that you can raise it up, lower it.
Perfect angle.
Perfect angle right in your eyes.
I know. Okay, so housing market 2024, state of Georgia. This isn't Metro Atlanta. This is all of Georgia, okay? So our median sales price went up. It actually climbed by 3%. The statewide median sales price, $360,000. Now, the average price saw a slightly higher increase of 5%. Reaching $439,492. Median versus average, not going to go into that, but there's difference in outliers here. Columbus and Savannah posted the largest increases in median prices year over year, with Columbus posting an 8.4% increase to $195,000, and Savannah posting a 6.8% increase to $363,000. Both pending and closed sales were flat, posting over only a 0.5% and 1/3% increase, respectively. And yet new listings hit a 5-year high, reaching 193,260, which is an increase of 16% year over year. Inventory levels averaged 3.5 months for new construction and 3.4 months for existing homes. While this is an improvement over recent years, low inventory remains a challenge for buyers statewide. So there are areas where we don't have enough homes for sale, and there are areas where we have too many homes for sale. Not all areas in Georgia are created equal right now, and you need to know those statistics before you go looking for a house or before you bring your home to market. So ask your realtor what the inventory levels are in your market today so you can understand what kind of competition and environment you're selling your house in. Now, the market performance throughout the year was shaped by evolving economic conditions, particularly the ongoing fluctuation of mortgage rates, which started at 6.6% at the beginning of 2024, posting a high of 7.2% in May and a low of 6.08% in September. And ended the year at 6.85. So lots of fluctuation. We all saw the big rush in September and late summer when we got those rates down, and then they went back up. So my key takeaways from this report are we had a lot more homes come on the market inventory-wise. Yet we didn't have more sales. Our sales and our pendings stayed flat. They only went up a fraction of a percent, 0.3 and 0.5% respectively. And because of that, we're in an area where a lot of the homes aren't selling for the full list price. Prices are still incrementally going up for the homes that are closing, but we basically had the same amount of closings that we had in 2023 when everything came to a standstill, but we got more homes on the market. More homes, same amount of closing, that puts downward pressure on prices when you're in an area with lots of homes to choose from. If you're in an area with few homes to choose from and people want to live there, that's a big thing, right? You can be in an area with lots of homes to choose from and no one wants to be there, and there's a reason for that. But if people want to be there and you got few homes to choose from, you're probably still going to be facing a bidding war. There are plenty of homes that are still going over ask. If you have a ranch in East Cobb that is move-in ready, oh my gosh, you're going to be in a bidding war. It's fine. But if you have a traditional home like most of us have, that's easily replaceable, or you have lots of opportunity costs for it, you have to compete on price. You have to be aggressive on price, and you need to work with a realtor who knows what they're doing.
This is in line with the comments that I've been hearing too, because people are not wanting to move if they don't have to. They're really moving for life events.
Yeah.
Like marriages, divorces,
retirements,
that there's a really common still. Now, have I heard of somebody moving just because they wanted to lately?
No.
Not really.
I haven't.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, gone are the stories of, we're moving here because we just want to relocate. We are still getting people relocating for work and career changes, but it's not as much as it was. And I feel like we're going to have an influx of people for a while with everything that's happened in California. God be with them. But the whole market as a whole is kind of a toss-up. We have a lot of variables, a lot of fluctuation, a lot of volatility. Every neighborhood is different. Every school district is different. Real estate is hyper-local. So, understanding where you live and work is very important to understand like the nuances. Again, difference between cookie cutter, there's a million of them, and, one and done, how to understand the unique properties in the area. That's different. One thing to pay attention if you're going to be in the market this year, work with an agent who is seasoned. 90% of agents fail within the first 5 years, and 74% of agents last year sold one home or less. So there's a good chance that, of the population of agents, if you're just going to reach in and pluck one randomly, they're not going to be equipped with the skills and the experience to navigate a shifting market like this. And is that to say it's a bad thing? No, but they do need to make sure they have a team behind them that can guide them throughout this process if you're working with a newer agent.
And congratulations, you sold 19 last year in a really tough market.
Yeah, and you sold 75. So kudos to you, honey. Just absolutely out there dominating. There's a lot of tough transactions, and when you get close to doing 100 transactions a year between the two of us, I mean, you come into some situations where we've had to really step in, put a lot of elbow grease in, and kind of work our magic to help make some of these transactions go through.
There's almost a seasonality to agents, and I feel like we're the ones left standing, like, hey, we're still here. A lot of people have left. It's crazy.
A lot of people have left. A lot of people have, if they haven't left yet, they will be. There's plenty of agents out there that are still struggling right now with the amount of business. Not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we've been through the gambit a few times. I started in the recession back in 2010, and you gotta adapt to the changing times. We've got more savvy consumers today than we ever have. The data is out there. There are podcasts like ours where you get to listen to the statistics and understand what's happening in the real estate market, so you can get the information needed to make an informed decision like a pro would. But there's a lot that we can't share. I mean, it's years and years and hours of experience that just go into making good decisions in real estate. And unless you're, living that every day, it's hard to do. So if you're looking to get an agent and want somebody who is going to be worth their weight, find the most experienced agent. Commissions are negotiable. You talk to them and find somebody that's willing to work for within your budget.
Up-to-date experience.
Up-to-date experience, yeah.
Don't get a dinosaur.
Just because you want to talk to somebody who's selling a lot of homes now. As a real estate broker, I can tell you that it's easy for somebody to come in. They can work for a year or two. They can get a few transactions under their belt, and then they can keep their license active indefinitely. And they can say, well, I've been licensed since 2010. And I sold 7 homes in 2010 and 6 homes in 2011. And then I haven't touched real estate since then. But I've been licensed for 15 years. Well, that doesn't mean that you know what you're doing.
There have been a lot of changes to the contracts.
Yeah. So just make sure if you're a consumer out there and you're looking to find a good agent, find somebody local. Don't go and find somebody who just has 5-star reviews for answering their phone. That's ridiculous. Find somebody who is an individual. They're doing a lot of business, not working for a team member for somebody. Get somebody who's going to give you actual attention and expertise in this market. You're going to really benefit from a real estate advisor who has a plan for selling your house.
If you're not ready to get an agent and you're still just looking at basic information, we have a book.
Yeah. This is how real estate plays were made.
Available on Audible, Amazon. And this is a real story of us and how we did ours. Or you talk to an agent, you need to understand. Like, one of the things, you have graphs in there.
Well, we actually have some resources that go along with the book. Mm-hmm. And they talk about how to interview an agent, how to interview a property manager. This light is driving me insane. Let's come over here again. Hi, for everybody on YouTube. So when I was in college, I ran a student organization for a year, and I was a part of it for a few years called Pure Financial Counseling. And what we did there is we just went around to all these giant auditorium classes and seminar classes at UGA and taught basic financial literacy. We're talking, how does a credit card work? How does a bank account work? Checking account, how to invest, how to save for retirement when you're starting your career. And what I learned there was that most of the population had no idea how any of this stuff worked.
Right. What's compound interest?
So when we had built our portfolio to the level where we said, okay, our retirement plan is there. We've hit our goal. We just have to pay off the mortgages. So we decided to say, okay, let's teach now how people can do this. And this is how we did it. If you're listening to the show, if you're a fan of the show, send us a message and I'll get you a copy of this for free so you don't have to buy it. Or if you just want to support us, it is available on Amazon. It's also available on Audible. And our Audible, the production on that was just spectacular. I think they did a great job. It's not me that you're listening to. Because sometimes I feel like I talk too much. What else are we covering today, Céline? Let's shift gears a bit.
Okay. I think that's it. Short and sweet episode today.
Well, no, we've got the January numbers.
Oh my goodness, that's a huge one.
All right. Do you want to talk about how our market has started out for the year?
Well, you have all the numbers in front of you.
All right, let's get these up. We'll post the graphs along with the show notes as well. Because we got plenty of time left.
There's a lot of data.
There's so much data. I'm gonna shove all the data into your ears. All right, market stats. Here we go. Now this is preliminary. It's always preliminary this early in the month following. But if we're looking at the metro Atlanta area, let's go ahead. We'll add Cobb And we'll add Cherokee in here as well. And we'll just share all three, because this is primarily where we operate. Cherokee, and then we'll add, let's see. I wish there was a way to just add North Fulton. But we got all of FMLS, Cobb, and Cherokee. For the median sales price, Cherokee is blowing it out of the water. They're up 9.
A lot of new construction.
A lot of new construction.
Yeah.
Cherokee County, 9.6% year-over-year increase. So they're having a median sales price right now of $500,000. Cobb County, negative 1.8% year-over-year increase in the median sales price. We are at $410,000. FMLS up 1.3% year-over-year at $390,000. So this is for the FMLS total area, basically all of Metro Atlanta. If we're talking about average, then the MLS area is up 5.4%. Cobb County is up 4.2%, and Cherokee is up 7.8%.
Is that surprising?
No, it's not. We've got Cobb County is a very well-established county, and the development, we're seeing a lot of redevelopment in areas, but there are areas of Cobb County that, you know, the prices have kind of been stagnant, and that we're starting to see more redevelopment. Think Mableton, right? And what they're planning for down there.
But also, Cherokee County, they have a lot more land and lots are larger. So a lot of people find that attractive.
Well, interestingly enough, I think I just saw a headline, and I haven't dove into it, but the city of Atlanta is using the Woodstock downtown development and how they've done that downtown area as a model for other towns to follow.
Really?
Because they've done such an incredible job. So downtown Woodstock used to basically not be that. It was an Ace Hardware and a train track.
Same with Roswell.
And
it was very dilapidated maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah. And they've gone through and completely redone that entire downtown area. There's now parking decks that they just finished there. The amphitheater is new. There's live, work, play. It's walkable. You've got the open container. It's enjoyable. They have events. So they've created this urban hotspot there in a place where, 20 years ago when I was a kid and we went out to Bradshaw Farms to visit some family friends, it was like an hour ordeal and it felt miserable because it was nothing but cows. And now it's like 30 minutes to get to, and it's amazing. And it feels like nothing because you're passing so much stuff now. It's just, that's a 20-year development.
Well, that, and I really do believe that, we went downtown to Atlanta for a lot of things. But now that it's at our doorstep, of course you're going to want to travel very little compared to going all the way in town. Oh, yeah. And the restaurants, the quality of restaurants in our little suburbs have greatly improved over the years. To have award-winning chefs in Cobb County and Cherokee County. Like when I moved here in 98, I never thought that would be a thing. Right? We've got some Michelin star restaurants here.
We do. Yeah. And when I moved here in 98, if you wanted a good restaurant, you're going to basically the Buckhead Diners Group in Atlanta. And that was all you had to choose from. Mm-hmm. And now you've got Michelin star, you've got all these award-winning chefs starting their own restaurants here in these downtown little walkable areas. It's so great. And I can't wait to see how this develops over time. But so we're seeing that growth happen. Listings are up in Cobb County. We're 19.8% more listings year over year. Cherokee County down 1.2%. 425 new listings in the month of January for Cherokee. 1,024 new listings in Cobb for the month of January. Total homes for sale, Cobb County, 1,973, which is up 59.9% year over year.
Wow.
Cherokee County total listings, homes for sale, 926, up 42.2% year over year. If you've been waiting for homes to be there to choose from, now they're there. Total pending sales, Cobb County, 463, Cherokee, 220. These are down. Cobb County is down 33%. Cherokee is down 33.3.
What date is that? Pending sales?
These are pending sales. So again, more homes on the market. The same number of homes basically are selling that sold last year. Closed sales.
What does that tell you?
It tells me that there are more homes to choose from, steady number of buyers that can afford it. We're going to see some downward pressure on prices this year unless we see interest rates come down.
That's the effect it has.
Yeah.
But why do you think these people are actually increasing this number? I think it's that people are tired of waiting. I think the sellers have finally said that more and more people, we've waited for 2 years with quantitative tightening. We can't wait anymore. We're going to put it on the market, see what happens.
Absolutely. We're also seeing a lot of, the boomer generation still downsizing, going through, getting rid of the McMansions, going to that one level living. And that I think is a big boom in Cherokee as well, because Cobb County, particularly East Cobb, they're not really receptive to building ranch floor plans anymore because of the minimum lot size requirements. So a ranch home requires a much wider lot to fit on than a traditional 2-story, because you can fit more square footage on multiple levels. So it's harder to build a ranch here in Cobb County than it is in Cherokee, because Cherokee has more land available, like you said.
You do have to be related here too. The people who inhabit your home, if you're renting.
On the rental side. Yeah. That's the same thing in Cherokee. So if you're a renter, you can't have more than 2 unrelated people in the house.
I didn't know it was the same for Cherokee.
I believe Cherokee has that law as well.
I know we're talking about sales, but rentals do lead into sales.
They do.
You still have to count that as part of the process.
The rental rule was up for discussion at the Cobb County commissioners meeting.
Oh, really?
I want to say in December, because this is when they were talking about all the ADUs. And I think we talked about it a little bit. If you want to go back, there's an episode on ADUs in the county. Selectrealty.com. You can just do a search for ADU. You're going to find the episode show notes.
Accessory dwelling unit.
Yes, accessory dwelling unit, ADU. And that was up for debate. They were also debating making changes to the wording around relationships in the 2-person related rule for rentals, which that law conveniently came into play because of Kennesaw State University. Cobb County put that law on the books because of KSU, because it was becoming more and more of a less commuter school. People were living close by, and you were getting these boarding houses where you'd have 5 people living in them, all unrelated, and they were renting basically rooms in homes that were not zoned for that, causing a big scene in residential neighborhoods. Parties at the middle of the night, damage, lots of people coming and going, parking on lawns, that kind of stuff.
That's not nice.
No, so we don't want to get rid of that rule. That's a good rule. I'm a property manager. I'm okay placing tenants that are not related to each other. 2 roommates? Plenty fine. We can do it. Month supply across the board. Cherokee County, 2.8 months supply. Cobb County, 2.8 months supply. These are up. So Cobb County is up 64% year over year. Cherokee up 47% year over year. The entire FMLS area, 3.8 months supply, up 52% year over year. So Cobb County, Cherokee County faring a little bit better than the market, beating the average here. But still, we're watching those inventory numbers creep up. What does this mean, Chris? Well, 3 month supply is what we consider a balanced market. When we're over 3 months supply, we get into a buyer's market. When we're under 3 months supply, we're in that seller's market. And when we're close to 3 months, it's pretty balanced. If I'm a buyer, I can go and have an equal opportunity that this house, I'm going to be in competition with multiple buyers, or I'm going to have an equal opportunity to go and make an offer and actually get something in my favor. So it can go either way. That's what balanced market means.
We never saw that during the pandemic and zero interest rates. So It was take it or leave it buyer.
The seller's market, yeah.
Completely.
How much money are you if I'm the seller, how much money over my ask price are you going to give me, and how few terms are you going to ask for in this contract? Mm-hmm. And now it is a negotiation. It's an art form, which is why we said, if you're working with an agent this year, make sure they've got the experience to know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Let's talk percent of list price. So what are homes selling for? This is what this is. So I list a home today. How much is it going to sell for? Well, if I'm talking about the median sales price, we're looking at 97 for all of FMLS, 97% of the original list price. I list a house for $400,000. It's going to sell for 97% of that. Cobb County, that's what I'm looking at. And so all of FMLS and Cobb County, 97% of original ask is the median. Cherokee County, a little bit better at 97.5. This is down almost 1% for FMLS. It is down exactly 1% for Cobb County, and it is down 0.6% for Cherokee County. So Cherokee just beating the average there as well. If we're talking about averages and not median, then we're looking in the 95% range. So, and that's down 2% for Cherokee County, 1.3% year over year for Cobb, and 0.9% for all of FMLS. So we're seeing properties become a little bit more negotiated. Particularly, I think a lot of this is coming from the higher price point. Your $2 million house that sells for 1.7, that kind of thing is going to affect this a lot more than your $400,000 house that sells for $395.
So things that I'm seeing lately are going to be a home warranty. It's about $550, $600-ish, depending on the square footage of your property. Other things that I'm seeing are concessions to closing costs, where the seller helps you out a little bit. I'm not seeing total, the whole thing covered, but sometimes they do cover a portion of it, maybe 30%, 40%, up to a half, maybe sometimes. Depends on their position. Others, what have you seen lately?
We're basically, what I'm seeing is that a lot of the terms are, we're finding ways to make them work, right? Yeah. Sellers are negotiable now. Buyers are also negotiable now. So I think everybody that we're working with and our clients and the agents that we've interacted with on the other side of the transaction are doing a fairly decent job of setting expectations. I don't think we've had, well, no, December we had like 3 nut jobs that were completely out of touch with reality. It's going one of 2 ways. It's either the agents are doing a great job setting expectations with the clients, and we're coming to the table all trying to work to find some ground where the numbers work for all the parties, or the buyer's agent is setting the expectation with their client that, hey, we're going to get you everything you want. And then the buyer comes to the table making all sorts of demands that are not in line with the value of the house. And then it ends up going nowhere. And we end up having a stonewall from the seller's position. So I think it's still 50-50. This is why you want to have somebody good on your team. Total dollar volume is down. We're down, let's see, Cherokee County, $106 million was sold in January. Cobb County, $201 million worth of real estate was sold. FMLS, $1.673 billion worth of real estate was sold. For FMLS, this is down 8.9% year over year. Cobb County, this is down 6.7% year over year. Cherokee County, this is down 5.6% year over year. So we're selling less. Home prices going up. The homes that are in demand, they're selling. Homes that are not in demand, they're sitting. They're not selling, or they're selling for less. And that is the story. So if you're thinking about making a move in real estate, there can be some good opportunities. If you're cash, you might be able to come in and get some really good investment properties and pick those up. But if you're looking to make flips, a lot of these interest rates have hurt you there.
We did have a major announcement, though, because the Fed did not lower their interest rate last week.
Yes.
And we did not talk about that.
We did not. That happened, I think, on Friday they made the announcement.
Isn't Fed Day usually Wednesday?
Maybe. But either way, it was after we did our recording. So, yes, over the last week, the Fed decided to hold. I think there's a lot of what ifs happening right now. Everybody's concerned, right? what are these tariffs going to mean for home building? What are these tariffs going to mean for, the cost of homes? What's the immigration issue going to do to new construction? Hint, it's hurting it. There's several builders that have been posting online saying, hey, I can't find a crew right now because of a lot of the ICE crackdown. So we've got a lot to work through as a country. The one thing that America has always done is figured it out. So
you have the people who are trying to move up or down, right?
Mhm.
Those are different situations. What about lateral moves? We have a lot of that, right? Relocations and stuff like that. So
yes,
that's not going to be as impacted. I mean, yes, it is,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's lateral.
Yeah.
So it's not a lost cause.
So I think that there are two things to pay attention to if you're a seller. Really, there's only two strategies. If your house is middle of the road, this isn't going to work. Your house needs to be turnkey, meaning when the buyer buys the house, they turn the key, everything is done. They don't need to do anything.
They don't have the money to do anything.
That is one way your house will sell. The other way your house will sell is if it is a great economic opportunity for the buyer, meaning they can go in and do a lot of work themselves over time. So it's not completely uninhabitable, but your buyer can go in and upgrade the flooring and upgrade and do the paint and upgrade the kitchen and do a lot of updates over time and get equity in addition to their cost and time that goes into it. So if you're going to do that, you're going to price your property a little bit less than the as-is value, because the as-is value is basically your property, what it would be worth minus the cost of making it that, because you have to give some profit to the buyer for that opportunity. So that's how buyers can win today. I know interest rates are high. I know the cost of homes is basically double what it was 3 years ago. But as we're going through this, if you can find a good opportunity, a home that you can live in, it's convenient, you can make it yours. 80-10-10 rule, 80% is perfect, 10% you can change, 10% you can live with, then you're going to put yourself in a great financial position over the next 5 years by doing a little bit of work yourself, getting your own sweat equity into the house. And then, when rates drop, you can either refinance and keep making the same payment, pay it off fast, or you can refinance, free up that cash flow, and or sell and then go and get something that you prefer a little bit better.
It seems daunting, but really 3 years goes by almost in an instant.
With everything that life has been throwing at us over the last few years, I feel like, 5 years has gone by in a blink.
Yeah. We have 3 children.
I feel like, 6 weeks ago, we were sitting here shutting down for COVID, and here we are.
Yeah.
So
that was a little bit more than 6 weeks for me, but
yeah. All right.
Still, 3 children does not help this whole timeline.
It certainly doesn't. So that kind of covers what's happening in the real estate market for January. Don't forget, tax time is here. Lower income folks, low to medium income folks, you've got the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program going on February through April. We'll put the information on the podcast or on the show notes, so you can see that over at selectrealty.com, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcast. Please leave us a review, like and share, comment, ring the little bell on YouTube so that you never miss when we post an episode. And as always, we really appreciate you listening in.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.